Chapter 1882. I broke through. Now that Zhokir has absorbed the spirit of sacrifice, her medical skills have also been greatly improved. Although she is still some distance away from truly entering the realm of Ipsilon, her medical skills are completely different from before. Li Changgong only suffered external injuries, and regenerating a severed limb was not a difficult task, so the operation was completed quickly. Zhang Yi was standing nearby, and suddenly received a call request from Xiao Lai. Zhang Yi raised his head and glanced at Li Changgong. Li Changgong seemed to sense something and looked at Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi did not avoid him, and answered the call directly. "Hello, Xiao Lai. Long time no see. Lord Hundun. Long time no see. Excuse me, is Li Changgong with you?" Zhang Yi glanced at Li Changgong and said lightly, "Yes, he is with me." Xiao Lai said, "Can I ask you a favor? Don't interfere in the affairs of our Northwest region? A regional commander who is willing to make friends with you is always better than a commander who is always scheming against you, right?" Zhang Yi curled his lips. "I have never been interested in interfering in other people's affairs. As long as this matter does not affect me, you can do whatever you want." Li Changgong's face showed a complicated expression. He is now very eager to get help from other regions, especially Zhang Yi's help. But on what grounds did he ask for help? His relationship with Zhang Yi is not good. Xiao Lai was obviously relieved. "Thank you. If you need our help in the future, please let me know." "Okay." Zhang Yi replied simply and ended the call. Zhokir came over and said to Zhang Yi, "His injuries have been healed. He will be completely healed after resting for a while. But it looks like his biggest injury is here."
She pointed to his chest.
Zhang Yi understood what she meant. A great man who is high above everyone else has been in a position that ordinary people can hardly reach in their lifetime since birth. Suddenly, power was seized and almost everything was lost. That feeling is definitely not pleasant. But Zhang Yi couldn't do anything about it. He walked over and said to Li Changgong, "You can rest here until your injuries are healed. Then you have to leave Tianhai City. I am a neutral party and will not intervene in the struggle between any forces. Therefore, I can't help you with anything else. You can go to people from other regions for help." It's not that Li Changgong didn't try, but the attitudes of people from other regions towards this matter were all loud but little action. Although they spoke righteous words, they didn't actually mention borrowing troops. After all, at this moment, the external crisis has not been resolved. Who is willing to risk their own troops and high-level aliens to fight to the death with a large region? Meng Yuanjun said to his subordinates very bluntly. As the supreme commander of a region, his power was taken away so easily. This kind of thing only shows that Li Changgong has long been unpopular. Li Changgong rested in Tianhai City for 3 whole days. During this period, he actively contacted all parties, including senior officials of various regions and his former subordinates in the Northwest region. However, the major regions kept shirking their responsibilities, and those old subordinates had already been won over by Xiao Lai and easily defected. It was not until this time that Li Changgong realized one thing: his prestige in the Northwest region was not as high as he had imagined. The only good news was that Xiao Lai listened to him and did not purge his cronies after the war, but simply stripped them of their powers and imprisoned them. Li Changgong was at a loss. Now he is alone, and returning to the Northwest region has become a luxury. Zhang Yi was quite considerate and prepared some supplies for him. "It's time for you to leave." She was very rude when she sent him away. After all, Tianhai City is under reconstruction, and we don't want outsiders snooping around here. Li Changgong nodded. "Hundun, thank you. You helped me when I was in trouble." He lowered his head and smiled bitterly. "In the past, I always thought that I was the descendant of a general and was born superior to others. To be honest, I am quite jealous of you because I think that an ordinary person who is a warehouse manager can have more fame and strength than me. It really makes me feel unbearable." He spread his hands. "But now I am nothing." Zhang Yi folded his arms and said lightly, "Leaving the Northwest region may not be a bad thing for you. At least, you are still a black chariot-level alien. No matter where you go, You can live well. The glory of the past, the protection of your ancestors, and the authority as the commander-in-chief of the Northwest region are not only your blessings, but also your burden. After hearing this, Li Changgong was enlightened. He raised his head and looked at Zhang Yi blankly. In an instant, he understood. He had everything in the past, but he didn't get it by himself. He had too much, but his foundation was too shallow and his character was too bad, which resulted in him being unable to grasp everything he had. He is an extremely talented person and should achieve great things in this world. It was because he was greedy for power and spent all day thinking about how to protect the position of the supreme commander of the Northwest region, leaving him no time to improve himself. Li Changgong took a deep breath. Chaos. Thank you. I understand. His eyes brightened, and the previous confusion disappeared. He already knew what he was going to do next. Next time we meet, I will definitely not be like this. Li Changgong stared at Zhang Yi, and Zhang Yi clearly felt his change. He raised his right fist to Zhang Yi and said with a focused expression, "We haven't fought for a long time. Next time we meet, I will catch up with you. Then, I hope you can give me another chance to challenge you." Zhang Yi rubbed his temple, smiled bitterly, and said, "You'd better spare me. Why does everyone want to challenge me now? It's true that people are afraid of becoming famous, just like pigs are afraid of becoming fat. If you become too famous, many people will want to defeat you and gain fame and power." Li Changgong smiled slightly and said again, "Thank you." Then he turned around and boarded the fighter plane with the supplies prepared for him by Zhang Yi. Next, he is going to go for training. If Xiao Lai could climb up from the bottom of the military officer hierarchy, then Li Changgong, as a descendant of a military family, could do the same. When the time comes, when he has assembled a strong team, he will return to Qing'an City and settle accounts with Xiao Lai. The fighter plane roared away, and Zhang Yi watched him leave with a faint smile. "I just hope that when you come back, you will not be the stubborn person you used to be." As a result, not long after Zhang Yi sent Li Changgong away, he saw the message sent by Luo Zhua on the high-level communication channel of Huaxi State. A mysterious underground race invaded the southwest region, but has been pacified by the brothers Luo Zhua and Juegua. This is a new underground civilization that has never been seen before, but its form is similar to the creatures of Nash Kingdom and Wulwan Empire. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. He certainly understood what this meant. When a civilization ends, some of its survivors will escape to places beyond the surface. But a civilization must have more than one group of survivors. However, the fact that the brothers Luo Zhua and Juegua defeated the two underground creatures so easily made Zhang Yi understand that they must have listened to his words and established a new Tantric Buddhism. Now both of them are the leaders of the new Tantric Buddhism, one in the open and the other in secret, in charge of religion and administrative affairs of the southwest region respectively. Thinking of what Cardinal Olive of the Junjing Church had said to him a while ago, Zhang Yi made a video call to Luo Zhua. Zhang Yi has done a great favor to the southwest region, so Luo Zhua treats Zhang Yi with great respect. "Mr. Zhang, it's been a long time since we last met. I heard that you returned from Fremons after a great battle. I wonder if you are in good health." Zhang Yi smiled and said, "I'm fine. I'm not going to die. I have gained something. By the way, I just heard that the southwest region was attacked again. What happened? Tell me in detail." Luo Zhua told the whole story, without hiding anything. There were two underground creatures, one with the strength of the Black Chariot, and the other with the strength of the White Bishop. How could they both be killed by you? Zhang Yi was not very curious about the underground creatures. The Ihan tribe explained everything clearly. Those guys were humans in the past, and they were a race trying to survive in the cracks. What curious him was that Luo Zhua and the other two were improving so fast. Luo Zhua said frankly, "It's the power of faith." Zhang Yi blinked, "But I remember that when I was in the underground demon kingdom, Juegua couldn't reach this level even when he activated the power of faith. What's going on?" Luo Zhua said, "Indeed, my current strength is only 18,000 points. But after being blessed by the power of faith, It is enough to have a bishop-level strength of 30,000 points in one leap. If my brother Juegwa and I merge, we can reach a level of about 35,000 points. Zhang Yi realized that this was probably the same as the situation of Marshal Shan of Cage Kingdom, so he asked in detail. Luo Zhua told Zhang Yi everything he knew. In this world, our Tantric Buddhism is not the only one that possesses the power of faith. For example, the Bharatanatyam sect in neighboring Bharata, Shintoism in Japan, Buddhism in Southeast Asia, and the Junjung sect. They can probably all use this ability. Zhang Yi asked puzzledly. So, there are tens of thousands of people in my Tianhai city, and they are all under my protection. Why can't I feel this power? Luo Zhua smiled. Mr. Zhang, faith and belief are not the same thing. The latter is out of one's own needs, while the former comes from the heart. He pointed to his heart. Only the most devout believers can have their prayers effective. Zhang Yi sighed when he heard this. No wonder there are so many monks and so many people burning incense and worshipping Buddha, but I've never seen a few monks become high-level extraordinary people. Nowadays, monks use their family property to do business. They only know how to make money. They drink and eat meat all the time and have no faith at all. Those who donate money for incense are mostly those who have committed too many crimes and feel uneasy. They think they can really become Buddhas by putting down their butcher knives and make up for themselves. But in fact, how can they really do good deeds and accumulate virtues? The Tantric Buddhism has been passed down for thousands of years, and the degree of religious belief of the believers here has reached a level that others cannot understand. They were even willing to engage in self-mutilation in order to worship the Buddha. The southwestern region is close to Bharatanatyam, and many of the teachings of Tantra are the same as those of the Bharatanatyam sect. The monks over there practice asceticism without regard for their lives. The beliefs of such people are extremely terrifying, and the power they bring together is even stronger. Then, what about the Junjung sect? Zhang Yi couldn't help feeling a little creepy when he thought about that ancient religion that had existed for who knows how long. You know, in those developed Western countries, many heads of state have to swear an oath in front of the Holy Scripture when they take office. Their faith has reached their bones. Zhang Yi took a deep breath and decided not to think about such a complicated issue for the time being. I roughly understand what's going on. The power of faith is telekinesis, which is essentially the power of ether fragments in the bodies of intelligent creatures. Observation, thinking, and prayer are all a kind of power. The more believers there are who possess powerful spiritual powers, the stronger the combined power will be. Now, the Ihan people have released 14.8 billion spiritual essences of extremely high purity, and just some of the power that has escaped has caused a second global mutation. And the ones who benefit the most are these religions. Zhang Yi looked at Luo Zhua in the picture, frowned slightly, and was a little hesitant. Seeing this, Luo Zhua asked, Mr. Zhang, what's wrong? Have you encountered any trouble? Zhang Yi smiled faintly. I have a question, but I don't know whether I should ask it. This kind of thing is very sensitive to extraordinary people. If you find it inconvenient to answer, I don't blame you. Luo Zhua smiled and stretched out his hand to signal. Mr. Zhang, you can just say it. Zhang Yi then said, I want to know, is there any weakness of this power? This was indeed a very presumptuous question. But Zhang Yi was indeed considering whether to go to the Kingdom of Cage to look for the Spear of Longinus. If the decision is made at that time, it would be better to be prepared in advance. Luo Zhua smiled faintly, without any sign of embarrassment. There is nothing offensive about this question. All the strange people in the sect know it. He explained it to Zhang Yi in detail. There are basically two weaknesses to this power. First, the foundation of faith is destroyed. The power of faith must be concrete, otherwise believers cannot make wishes from the bottom of their hearts. For example, temples and statues. Even simpler ones include trees, mountains, and rivers. The so-called God is an illusory existence that no one has ever seen. Only by relying on these physical objects can the energy of ether be gathered. Zhang Yi understood this point. When he dealt with the master of the funeral, He burned down the Songjia temple and destroyed his Buddhist heart. Second, the use of the power of faith is limited in scope. Since the power of faith, that is, the energy of ether, is concentrated on the physical object, then if you want to borrow its power, you cannot be too far away from it. Not just the objects, but the land as well. Luo Zhua said frankly, if you want to use the power of believers, you must make a great wish to protect the peace of the land. For example, I can only use this power when I am in the southwest region. Once I leave the land of the southwest region, all the power of faith will leave my body. At this moment, a flash of inspiration came to Zhang Yi's mind. He finally figured out where General Shan of Cage got his power from. In the territory of Keiji Kingdom, he is like a land god who can draw on the power of the earth and believers. But when he left the kingdom of Keiji and attacked the Roman Empire, he was directly beaten back to his original form. The reason why Alabu came to find Zhang Yi was, on the one hand, due to international political considerations. On the other hand, it was because Zhang Yi had no religious beliefs. The aliens of the Junjing Church believe in Catholicism. After they enter the kingdom of Cage, the power they can exert may be limited. This piece of information was extremely crucial. At least Zhang Yi had a rough idea in his mind, so he thanked Luo Zhua. After a few pleasantries, the call ended. Northwest Region. Xiao Lai came to power and became the new supreme commander. On the first day after taking office, he announced something directly. Li Buiyuan, a former senior official in Chang'an, was appointed Minister of the Interior, in charge of the administrative affairs of the Northwest region. In addition, he also decentralized power in a number of fields such as science and technology and agriculture. He lets professionals take charge of it and does not interfere. Only responsible for the phased review results. Some people cheered for his actions, believing that an enlightened ruler had arrived. Some people secretly sneered, thinking that Xiao Lai was just putting on a show. If you are really that open-minded, you should give up the position of Supreme Commander or allow capable people to compete fairly. But Xiao Lai didn't care about it. He knew that the ruler's approach would not win everyone's approval in a short period of time. Only by making achievements would the world know whether he was capable. Xiao Lai must keep the army firmly in his hands. It's not that he is greedy for power, but at this special time, with powerful enemies surrounding us, the Northwest region, and even the entire human race don't know when the great disaster will come. Only a person with powerful abilities can bring the greatest stability. For this reason, he didn't even mind saying directly to the people around him, I know that being in this position, many people think that I am a dictator like Li Changgong. But I will use authoritarian means to end authoritarianism. The Northwest region still needs me now. When the day comes, when peace really comes, I will find a beautiful place to spend my old age without anyone reminding me. Later, Xiao Lai also confirmed this with his own actions. If Luo Yunfeng, who had been kind to him, had not fallen off the building and died, perhaps he would now be enjoying being an officer of a low position, marrying a virtuous wife and having 2 lovely children. The tide of the times will push people forward, and it is history that has chosen him. A month has almost passed since the end of the Chernobyl War. This month, the whole world has undergone earth-shaking changes. A large number of aliens began to appear, and mutant creatures also emerged in large numbers. The explosion of 14.8 billion spiritual energies of the Ihin people brought the second biological boom to this planet in billions of years. First, it was when the creator Kagago created this universe. Kagago's favorite Icon tribe returned to the ether, and the legacy they left behind was enough to shock the entire world and all races. The creatures on the surface are the most direct beneficiaries. The light gate has disappeared for a month, and humans have gone from being worried at the beginning to having some doubts now. If the lord of the mechanical civilization, the 6-winged King Ichigo, really obtained the holy relics of the Ihen people, why hasn't he appeared for so long? The god-level civilization cannot be understood by ordinary civilization. For a civilization that is incredibly powerful and can even last forever, time has no meaning to them. Instead of living in fear all day long, we might as well take this opportunity to rapidly develop our own civilization. The mechanical civilizations obtained from the battlefield, especially the remains of the demon god, are enough to greatly improve the technological level of various countries. In the Chernobyl wasteland, Rorek has been waiting for Ichigo's return. No matter how long it takes, he believes that after Ichigo returns, he will be able to make the Tsungyuan people rise again in the world and become the next generation of angel race. And Tianhai City was also rebuilt within this month. A fortress even larger than the original one, like a huge black bowl upside down on the ground. The fortress is divided into 3 layers, inner and outer layers. The most core area is naturally the shelter where Zhang Yi and others live. The second level is the Deng Technology Laboratory established by Deng Shintong, Li Jian's huge farm, Lu Dehai's aquaculture center, and Frog's centipede farm, and other institutions. The third layer is a purely armed barrier. It is made of the latest metal material combined with barrier stones, with a thickness of an astonishing 20 meters. There is a part in the middle that is empty, forming a circular passage where soldiers can move quickly and fight. The fortress is equipped with 8 Tianhai cannons and 2 city defense sniper rifles whose power can only be unleashed by Zhang Yi. Apart from this, the entire fortress is detached from the ground. The part that sinks into the ground can open its robotic arms and move at a speed of 10 kilometers per hour. However, this function is basically difficult to use. Most of the time, Zhang Yi would directly put the fortress into the alien space and take it away. That morning, Zhang Yi sat on the top of the fortress, squinting his eyes and looking at the sky. The distant coastline is clearly visible here. The temperature at the seaside in October is very high, reaching more than -30 degrees Celsius. The sunlight shines thinly on Tianhai City, with only a dim light, but the rising red sun still brings a warmth to people's hearts. Today is the agreed day. He and King Arthur will have a showdown on Sogo Island. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. Zhang Yi got up early. He ate only until he was 7/10 full today and checked all the weapons he carried with him.
He is in the most perfect state now.
There were footsteps on the stairs behind him. Zhou Kuer and Yang Xinxin came up and stood beside Zhang Yi. They didn't say much, but just lifted their long hair to face the southwest wind and watched the rising sun with him. Soon, Fatty Sue's excited voice came from downstairs. Lauda, Lauda. I made a breakthrough. Ha ha ha, I made a breakthrough. Fatty Sue climbed up the stairs, thump, 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 the flesh on his face trembling, and he danced with joy. At this moment, Zhang Yi subconsciously wanted to turn around and slap him, and then ask him, "Damn beast, what breakthrough did you make?" But now is not the right time to play a joke, so he turned around and glanced at Fatty Sue. "Oh, how does it feel?"